kind of girl you wanna marry, the kind of girl you walk the whole earth for. Put her on your back and just carry her attitude.
Hey, it's your girl Cash. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today's video is part 2 of the She Too Tender story time. So I think when we left off, we were already at the tailgate and my homeboy had approached us. Did he? Let me go watch the end of that video so I can make sure I'm on the right part. So I was right about what part of the story time I was on. So this was at the point when my homeboy had approached us. I don't remember what I even named him, but she was, what were we gonna call him? Did I call him Tay or Quan or some shit like that? We just gonna call him Corn. I think that's what I called him. So she basically, like, you know, just kept butting into their conversation. So eventually Quan just kind of wrapped his arm around Coco and they like walked off to another side of the tailgate to go have like, not a private conversation, but just a conversation where Tina wasn't, so she couldn't jump into the conversation. So at this point, I'm like not even focused too much on what Tina and Coco have going on, because I'm starting to peep that every time we get near one of the palm colored frats, Amy starts doing the most. So Amy would like grab, like we would all be dancing and stuff like that and it would be cool, but when there would be men around, Amy would like grab you and aggressively like hump when she dances. It's like, you know how you dance on your homegirls and it's like, ah, I'm standing back, I'm catching it. No, Amy is behind you like a Jamaican man at an all-white party, just It's just like, girl, like, bitch, unhand me. Like, don't be doing all that. Like, girl, this is the tailgate. This is not the boom boom room. Like, stop doing me like that. It was just so uncomfortable. And I think she used to do it to all the girls, and all of us used to be so freaking aggravated by it. So while Amy's doing the most, I finally end up getting away, and I kind of like stand off to the side of her and just like, you know, make it seem like I'm just sipping on my drink so she could let me go for a minute. Tina starts asking me 1,000,001 questions about my homeboy that walked away with Coco, Quan. That's what we call him in the story time. Sorry if I'm wrong. And I was just like, you know, I've known him since middle school, like he cool peoples, whatever the case may be. And she was like, well, what middle school did y'all go to? Because I know him from somewhere. I was like, well, you couldn't have went to middle school with us because we all went to a middle school kind of like far away from where she lived. So I'm like, it couldn't have been middle school, but they went to one of the high schools like kind of further up north. So I was like, I was telling her the high school, and she was like, you know, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, that's the high school he went to, because I remember he played football all 4 years. So she's just like, I think I know him. I think I know him. I'm like, you know, okay. Like over there, everybody's just chopping it up or whatever, but Coco and Quan are still off to the side having their own little conversation. So Tina kind of like keeps on trying to invite them into the conversation, like, you know, asking Quan different questions. And I know my homeboy, like, at this point, he's not being as friendly. He's like, you know, just kind of waving her off and still talking to Coco. So eventually, I think, Tina had asked to see his Instagram or something like that, and he showed her. So none of us are really paying any attention. Why does Tina blurt out, oh yeah, you used to date my homegirl, you broke her heart? And he's just like, you know, oh, who's your homegirl? I don't be breaking hearts. But he's laughing because I told y'all, like, my homeboy is a Jezebel. So, you know, he's just laughing off stuff like that. And she's like, yeah, I heard you used to put your hands on her. So when she said that, like, the music didn't stop, but for all of us, the music stopped. So we're looking at her, and then we start looking at him, because it's just like, huh? Like, mind you, I've been knowing him since middle school. Never known him to put his hands on nobody. Yes, he is a little bit promiscuous, but I ain't never heard about him being no woman beater. So he's like, wait, hold on. Who is your homegirl? Like, who are you talking about? And she's like, oh, like, I can't even remember the girl name for real. So he's like, how was that your homegirl if you can't remember her name? So he's like, man, pull up a picture of her. So we're sitting over there waiting on her to pull up a picture, and she's not like pulling it up fast enough, but she's constantly just saying like, oh, you used to put your hands on my homegirl. So he's like, hey, like, I don't know who your homegirl is. Maybe you got me confused with somebody else, but stop saying that, because I don't put my hands on women. And she's like, no, I remember you, like, blah, 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 blah. So at this point, they just kind of going back and forth, and it's like hella awkward. And then she ended up going to pull up the girl's Instagram, but the girl page was on private. He's saying that he doesn't remember the girl, but she's saying that, like, no, I know that you know her, like, I know that you talked to her, like, don't lie. So at this point, he's getting irritated, she's getting irritated. So Coco's kind of like, hey, like, y'all want to walk? Like, y'all want to walk around? Like, let's go pivot. Like, they got other frat tables out here, like, let's just go walk. So we're like, all right, bet. So we kind of grab her hand and we start walking, and he's just like, whatever, like, I'm gonna catch you on the flip side, Cash. And I'm like, all right, bet. And I guess him and Coco had already exchanged numbers or whatever the case may be. So when she did all that, I'm like, are you sure that is him? And she was like, yes, I'm sure. And I'm like, oh, okay, like, you know, that's a little bit weird. But you know, it was one of those situations. I think we were honestly just out there and we were all just having a good time. So it was like, you know what, we gonna put that on the back burner for later on. So we started walking around, we sipping, and then we end up stopping because like they was playing, what song is that? It's the remix and I'm coming with that bout, bout, bout. So we all just over there dancing, throwing it back, having a time. I'm even throwing it back on Amy, bitch, and you know she's catching it because Amy is gonna catch it. So we just over there dancing, and two of the alphas end up walking up to us and they approach us. So it was a lighter skinned muscular one, and then there was a tall dark skinned muscular one. So they walk up to us and they're like, hey, how y'all doing, ladies? Like, you know, just making small talk like they usually do. So they're just talking to us, and we like, you know, talking back because they were fine. We having a good old time. So, you know, when they would walk up to us as a group, like they would usually speak to everybody, but then they would kind of like zero in on who they wanted to talk to. But when they came to talk to us as a group, all of us was kind of paying attention because they was fine. So we was all looking like, you know, bitch, who y'all want? Because all of us want y'all. So while they're talking, they just like, oh, you know, do all of y'all go here? And we're pretty much so like, yeah. And then we're telling like Coco's like an honorary student because she hang around us, and we're just chopping it up. So it kind of seemed like at this point the shorter muscular one was interested in Tina. So he just like talking to Tina. He's like, yeah, I done seen you around campus a few times, like da 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 da. Like, so they just chopping it up or whatever. So while she's chopping it up with him, I kind of peeped that the taller one, he starts talking to all of us. Like, well, not all of us, but he's talking to me, Coco, and Amy. So he's talking to us. He's making like small talk. He's really cool. So everything's going well. So while he's talking to us, Tina kind of gets his attention, and she's like, oh, well, what both of y'all doing tonight? Now, mind you, I have to give Tina grace because Tina did tell us, like, you know, she's a free spirit and she's just a little bit promiscuous, like she's just like living her life or whatever. But I didn't think that she was like out there as bold as she was, because to ask both of them what they're doing tonight at the same damn time, you a cold one. You cold, boo. I couldn't do it. Not doing it. So they were just like, oh, okay. So the shorter light skinned one was like, I don't know what he on, but I'm on whatever you on. I'm trying to be where you at. And the dark skinned one is like, he just kind of like laughed it off, and he was like, nah, like I'm not on that. So he ends up talking to me now, and he's like, you know, I ain't never seen you on campus. And I'm just like, yeah, you know, I just started like going here. I just transferred from a community college, wah. So we just talking, we just chopping it up, and like he hands me his phone to like put my Instagram in there. So while I'm putting my Instagram in the phone, like I peep, Tina is kind of giving me the death stare to the point where you can feel it on the side of your face. I don't even think she's still talking to his homeboy, but I'm like, shit, I don't care, cause you already got one of the homeboys. Like, damn, you want both? Like, come on now. Like, it would have been different if he would have actually went for what she was propositioning, but he walked away when she said it. So I'm like, this ain't even your man. He didn't even acknowledge you. So y'all can tell me if y'all think I'm wrong in the comments, but I don't think I'm wrong, because he didn't try to pursue her. Maybe, you know what, maybe I am a little bit wrong. Maybe I should have just been like, you know, once she made it clear that she was attracted to him, I should have just said no. But I'm like, you know, I didn't think that she was gonna be as mad as she was, because my girl, we don't know these dudes. We all just chopping it up. Who knows if I'm even gonna talk to them after this function? So like, it really doesn't matter. So once that happened, they kind of ended up walking away from us, and she's like talking to me or whatever, and she's like, did you know him like before he walked over here? And I'm like, nah, I just met him at the same time when he met everybody else, like, you know. And she's like, oh, well, I don't think you should be talking to a dude like that, because like he was really just looking at your chest the whole time, and like he didn't even really look at your face. And I was like, I was looking at his chest the whole time, so I'm no better than him. So I was just like, oh girl, like thanks for the heads up, but like, you know, I'm not really looking for no, like, it's college, I'm not trying to marry this man. He just was good looking and I like the text, so wherever it goes, it goes. If it don't go nowhere, it don't go nowhere. So at this point, we're kind of like, you know, we end up going to head back to the car, and we're waiting on the car to cool down. So while we're waiting on the car to cool down, she turns to me and starts asking me about my homeboy again. She's like, yeah, that's crazy. I never took you as the type of woman that hang around a woman beater. And I'm like, did you ever find the girl's Instagram? Like, did you talk to your homegirl, see if she remembered this dude? And she's like, no, I didn't, but I know him and I know he's a woman beater. Like, how could you hang around a man like that? And I had to tell her, like, for one, I've been knowing him for a very long time, and I've never heard about him doing anything like that. And I know a lot of his previous girlfriends, because all of us kind of grew up together. But at the same time, stop making it seem like I'm at fault or I know that he out here putting his hands on women and I'm still kicking it with him, because if I had heard anything like that, I would have never hung around him. You still haven't produced who you said he put his hands on. And it's just like, girl, me and him have been friends since middle school. Y'all know how that is when you've been friends with somebody like long term like that. Like, especially with dudes. It's different with my homegirls because I really talk to them every day. Like, I know what they have going on. I know who they beefing with. With my homeboys, we kind of just like link up, crack jokes, watch them play basketball, and that really be it. So I'm just like, hey, like, stop making it seem like I'm out here hanging around Epstein. Bitch, I'm not on that. Like, don't do that. And I was getting offended because I'm like, you know that's not my character. I don't even play like that. So I don't know why you're trying to push that off on me. Y'all probably like, girl, why is y'all still hanging around Tina? But we was just like, me and Coco probably thought like, you know, we're so used to just being us. Maybe we're being judgmental and we're being too hard on her. Like, maybe she's not all that bad. And we would always say, like, if she continues to do anything that aggravates us, like, we'll go talk to her about it. But Coco wasn't like as forthcoming as I was. She likes to avoid confrontation. I just feel like if me and you friends, I should be able to come to you about things directly, and it shouldn't be no problem because I'm not coming from a place of malicious intent. Progresses, Tina is doing little things. Like, I would always see Tina more because me and Tina went to school together, and I would see Coco when we would all go out like as a friend group on the weekends. But for some reason, I think because Tina was the only child, she had it in her mind that me and Coco were trying to like hang out without her, and we were just like, you know, still focused on preserving just us being friends and trying to keep her as an outsider. And I was telling her, like, me and Coco don't even see each other if I'm not with you, because Coco has a job, I'm in school full-time. The only time all of us are free to hang out, we always end up going to a club or going somewhere. So, you know, we're never doing anything without you. But she just didn't believe us, and I was kind of already getting irritated of having to like constantly explain that to her. But she would be cool when we were together, but it was like anytime over the weekend, if we didn't invite her out to do something, she just automatically assumed we went without her. So after class one day, we go to Chick-fil-A like we usually do, and I end up seeing like these two dark-skinned boys. One of them had locks and the other one, he had waves. Now, when I had seen them, I kind of was looking, and you know, Tina knows everybody. So I'm like, damn, Tina, do you know them? And she's like, who? I'm like, the one with the waves. And she was like, nah, I don't know who they is. Like, you think they cute? And I was like, yeah, I think they cute or whatever. So we were walking past like a few of the what is it called? Like, y'all know how the clubs be having the different tables in the breezeway or whatever. So we were walking past the tables, and one of them had gave us a bag of candy. So she was like trying to get the boys' attention, and she was like, hey, hey, but they really like, they couldn't hear us. So she ended up throwing the candy at one of them, and they turned around and looked at us, and I'm like, oh my God, Tina, bitch, why would you throw the candy? So when she threw the candy, they looked at us crazy, and they ended up walking over there bringing us the candy back. And they're like, did y'all just hit us with a bag of candy? And I was like, ooh, child, that was not me. So basically, we end up introducing ourselves to the boys. We gonna call them Sway and them, like the famous twins, but they're boys. They're not actually twins. They were just two boys that used to hang around each other or whatever. So the one with the waves, he was super fucking fine. The one with the locks, he was cute, but waves was fine. So before they had came over there, I had already told her that the one with the waves, like, he was fine. And she was like, yeah, girl, he is fine. So when they got over there, we're just all talking, chopping it up. They're asking how long we've been knowing each other. They're telling us stuff about them. So they were in the medical program. They were friends, and they had been knowing each other for a while too. So, you know, we're just chopping it up, and I started to like peep that she is kind of like, I thought she was feeling the one with the locks because she was talking to him at sorry. I thought she was feeling the one with the locks because she was talking to him at first, but when it was time for us to leave, she ended up getting both of their numbers. So when I peeped that she had got both of their numbers, seeing how she was kicking it at the tailgate, I ended up like not getting either one of their numbers because I was just like, you know what, this is gonna be a friend group. I just can't talk to anybody that Tina knows. And it's gonna sound crazy, but I feel like Tina, I don't know if it was the only child thing or some type of like invisible jealousy, but any dude that approached us, if he did not like pay attention to Tina, it would be a problem, and she had to have all the attention. So Coco had been pointing out the same thing because she was saying that anytime like they would walk up to the frat dudes and be talking to them together, anytime Tina would get a dude's number, Coco would let her do her thing, but anytime Coco got a dude's number, like, Tina made sure she got it too. So I was like, you know, that is a little bit weird, but I already knew that she was a social butterfly, and I told Coco, like, I'm not really tripping off of it because I'm not doing anything with anybody on campus, and I'm not really interested in it that much, so, you know, I'm not tripping. But we ended up eating lunch with the boys every day, and like they were super cool. So one day we had decided that after the tailgate we were gonna have a game night at Tina's house. I don't know what it was about this tailgate, but the vibes were just off all fucking day. So we had went to Amy's house to like pregame or whatever, because I told y'all she lived closest to the school. So while we at Amy's house, we pre-gaming or whatever, Amy's like, oh, I'm in my room getting dressed, like I'm gonna be out in a minute. So we just all out there drinking or whatever, chopping it up with Amy's roommates, because we had never met them. So when Amy comes out, she's ended up wearing the same thing that she wore to the last tailgate, which isn't a problem because, you know, she has a washing machine. But throughout the times that we had been going out with Amy and seeing her in school, Amy would kind of always have on the same clothes. And we had noticed that Amy kind of had like a smell to her. And it wouldn't be all the times, but I just think that sometimes before we go out to a function, like she wouldn't shower. But you gotta understand, we in the college function. It's hot, it's sweaty, the dudes hopping, we got on tiny shorts, we dancing. Like, you know, you really gotta be on top of your hygiene. So when we see her come out the room, we were all kind of just like, looking at her. And I didn't say anything because I didn't know how to put it into words. And also I liked Amy. I didn't want to hurt Amy's feelings. So Tina was just kind of like, Amy, I feel like I've seen you with that on already. She was like, yeah, like I wore it, but I washed it. And it was just like, honestly, even if the outfit was clean, Amy kind of just needed a new outfit, because she would have on like a cropped wife beater, and she would have like this lace bra so you could see like the bra through her wife beater, and she would have on like these gray sweatpants, shorts, and some sneakers, which, like, don't get me wrong, she didn't look bad because Amy had an amazing shape, but it's like, Amy, you can do better than this. So Tina had kind of went back in the room and she was like helping Amy get dressed and stuff like that. So she had found her another outfit. Making it to the tailgate probably like an hour and a half later than we usually do. But you know, the tailgate be running for a while, so it ain't no problem. So by the time we make it there, the Noop table is already out of Noop juice. So Tina and Coco head over there, and I guess they were trying to see if they had any juice or what. But usually when they head over there, it don't be no problems. We look back, Tina and Coco are over there arguing with one of the noobs, and he was one of the ones, like, he already had like a reputation for being like rude or whatever, which is why I would never really approach the table, because some of them dudes just had attitudes. Tina and Coco were over there talking to a noob that they did know, and while they were talking to him, the other boy appeared over there, and I guess like just started blacking on him, like, why are y'all over here, like, what do y'all need? Every time I look up, y'all over here. And it was just like, I don't think that he was saying like from today y'all are always over here. I think he was just saying like in general, like y'all are always like in the orbit, which he wasn't necessarily wrong, but he was just really rude and nasty to like say it like that. And it's like, obviously, you know, they know some of your line brothers, so why are you acting like that? But I'm just like, you know, whatever. He's notorious for having a nasty ass attitude. You really just can't pay him any mind. So whatever. So they ended up, like, we didn't pay him no mind. We just ended up over there, like, chilling with the Qs. We having a good time. So after we walked away from the Qs, we ended up, like, going up under the tent, because we're trying to get through to get to the other side of the tailgate. So as we're going through the tent, we're all holding hands, and we're saying excuse me to each other. Like, not excuse me to each other, but we're saying excuse me to people as we pass. And everybody knows, like, it's a tailgate, it's crowded. Everybody's like, oh, no problem. Like, we even stopped to dance to people after we bumped into them. Like, everything was cool. So Coco's in the front of the line, and she's holding Tina's hand. Tina's holding my hand, and I'm holding Amy's hand. So while we're walking, we end up walking past like a group of AKAs. I don't even think they had a table. All I feel is like all I feel is Tina just jerked to the side. So I'm like, God damn, because she still had my hand. So I look up, and this AKA is like, say excuse me, but she's talking directly to Tina. She's not talking to anybody else, and she's kind of like bucking up at Tina, and she's like, say excuse me, and Tina's like, I did say excuse me, don't push me. So they're over there arguing, and I kind of like peep, although the girl is being like super unreasonable, like, you're at a tailgate, you're gonna get bumped, and it's like, you had to hear her say excuse me, and even if you didn't hear one of us, you had to hear the other one. And you see what it is, like, nobody's bumping you intentionally. But while they're arguing, I'm kind of just like, Tina, keep on walking, and Coco's like, bro, come on, because we're starting to peep, like, the other girls around her are like kind of like suiting up a little bit, like they kind of like pushing their hair back and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh shit, like, bitch, is we about to get jumped? Like, So like when I peep one of the girls like start wrapping up her hair, I'm looking around. All I see is a whole bunch of empty bottles like underneath the table. So I'm looking at this Hennessy bottle, and I'm looking at this girl, and I'm like, Tina, walk, Tina, walk, Tina, walk, because it's 4 of us, it's 10 of them. you gotta walk, especially because like Tina wasn't a fighter. Like she had never really been in a fight. She didn't know how to fight. She was from the burbs, like, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm like, right now, I don't think you're realizing like we're kind of in danger. Like it's time for you to walk or whatever. So I ended up like yelling at her, and I'm like, "Oh, Tina, walk!" And I like pushed her a little bit, and we started walking. And I'm like, "I'm sorry, like I didn't mean to push you like that, but I just seen where it was gonna go, and I didn't want her to go there because bitch, we don't want to go to jail and buck up a fight." And then mind you, like these are sorority girls. Like we're we're individuals. We don't know what's going on. So I'm not really sure why the sororities and the frats were treating us like that, but I think it's because Tina had been going around telling everybody that she wanted to like pledge a sorority. Like from the first day I met her, she was saying that to me too and asking me was I interested, and I told her no. I can't remember exactly which one she told me she wanted to pledge, but I don't know much about D9s, but I do think it's a bad idea to be around here talking about it. So I don't know what caused all of that, but it was just like, it was a hot fucking mess. Okay. So after the tailgate, we're all getting dressed and we're showering and stuff, and we're getting ready to head over to Tina's house for game night. So it was me and all the girls, Tina, Amy, and Coco, and then it was two of the boys from school, what do we call them? Nim and Sway. And then there was two of Tina's homeboys. Now Tina's homeboys, they were cool, but these are not dudes that we're looking to date. One of them, he's cool, but he's really just like the homie. And the other one, he is younger than us. I think all of us are like 21. He's like 19. This was like her younger homeboy. They're cool. We had met them before, no problem. So we end up making it to like Tina's house. Everything's cool. We're all just sitting down there playing the games or whatever until Sway and them get here. So Amy had never met Sway and them because she never sat down and ate lunch with us because I think she had a class during that time. But it was like Amy was cool the whole time. The whole time everybody else was there, Amy was cool until Nim and Sway got there. Once Nim and Sway got there, bitch, Amy switched up on all of us and she just became one of the boys. So we're having a game night, stuff like that. So we start playing, and we're playing like one of those little homemade game boards, and it's like where you roll the dice and you switch your character like Monopoly, and then depending on whatever you land on, that's what you do, or you pull a card or something like that. So once we get there, like some of the cards like, you know, take a shot, other cards like give a lap dance, whatever the case may be. So while we're doing this, Tina is over there babysitting her shots. But we knew Tina was gonna babysit her shots because she always did that. Also, I think she had school the next day. So everybody knows that Tina's babysitting her shots, and we're like making a joke out of it. But Amy is making it her business to like argue with Tina about babysitting these shots. She's like, why you keep on babysitting the shots? Like, you're a cheater. Like, you need to take a shot. If you're not gonna take the shot, like, you need to just stop playing. And it was, at first it was funny, but it had got to the point that Amy was saying something to Tina every 20 seconds, and she was just getting more and more rude, and she was kind of doing it from approval from the boys, and she was like laughing with them and making it seem like she was on their team. And it's like, no girl, 4 girls, 4 boys, like stop doing all that. But I genuinely, like, at first I thought she was joking, but it got to the point where I peeped that she wasn't joking and she was really trying to like down Amy. Amy was trying to down Tina, like low-key downplay her or whatever, and she was just being a little bit rude. So I'm like, okay, I'm not thinking nothing of this. So Tina gets another take a shot card, and she just like kind of babysitting the shot, so she ends up taking half of it, and the boys is like, nope, take the full thing. Amy gets the like, girl, if you're not gonna take the whole shot, like, you need to sit your scary ass down, like, she's just doing the most. And it was kind of out of left field because Amy didn't usually act like this. When I tell y'all, I can't even remember everything Tina said. Tina turned around and cussed Amy ass out like a dog, like, bitch, stop talking to me like that in my house, and blah, 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 blah. Now, granted, Amy would get under our skin sometimes. Like I told y'all how Amy had did with the car. But the way she turned around on Amy and teed up, and Amy didn't say anything, me and Coco were looking at each other, because it was like, girl, if that was me, and you were talking to me like that, unacceptable. And it's like, I don't know, y'all. I kind of don't like to, like, get into disagreements with my homegirls in front of people, especially not men, because y'all know how that is. But I don't know, that's 2 sides of a coin. Y'all can't say like wherever she act up at is where she get checked at, but at the same time, some people will be like, you know, just keep it private. Y'all can tell me what y'all would have did. But I was just like, oh, because it kind of just gave, like, both of them were kind of showing out for the boys a little bit, like, you know what, like, you're not gonna embarrass me in front of these dudes, and bitch, I'm trying to embarrass you in front of these dudes. So it was just a lot. So one of the boys ended up rolling the dice to change the subject, and we end up going to the next card. So when Sway shakes the dice, he ends up landing on hump, marry, or unalive. I don't want to cuss too much on here because y'all know how YouTube get, and I already been cursing. So I think he said that he would hump Coco, he would marry me, and then he would unalive Amy. So we're just all like, okay, you know, nobody's thinking too much of it because all of us had landed on this card before. And I'm like, you know, he's just choosing for the game. Mind you, everybody else had played, even the one with the locks had played the same card. She did not trip. Why when he said that he would marry me, Tina turns to me and is just like, guess you got lucky because he'll marry you. And I'm just like, oh, I forgot to tell y'all. This is why I was annoyed with her for doing all of that at the game night. Mind you, when she had got both of their numbers, she kind of had told me that, like, she was talking to both of them, like, outside of, like, you know, school and us eating lunch together. But her and them with the locks, her and them had been linking up and they had been doing the whoop-de-whoop and all. So I'm like, girl, I know damn well you're not over here trying to get mad at me about his homeboy playing the game when you already humping on the other homeboy. It was like, what are you mad about? So when she did that, like, me and Coco was just rolling our eyes because it's like, girl, you're not over here getting mad about a game. So after he had chose to marry me, it was kind of like, I think everybody peeped how her vibe changed. So it was like, you know what? Let's just go ahead and play a different game. So after that, I think we were like playing, what was it? Not charades, whichever the one we like, you have to read the card and you have to flip it down if you get it right. Up the little Monopoly type game, and then we started playing charades. So while we're playing charades, it's still just seeming like she has an attitude. And this is her house, so it's kind of like, you know, whatever, like it's time to wind down because obviously you don't want everybody here anymore. So when it was time for them to leave, her and them ended up going outside together, the one with the locks, and they were kind of like talking for a minute, and she was like she's gonna walk them to the car. So once she walked them to the car, eventually like everybody else started leaving and heading out. And then she came back in the house and she was talking to me and Coco because me and Coco had helped her clean up and Amy had ended up leaving with the boys. She walked out with them. So, you know, like we come in and we're just talking and she was like, why was Amy acting like that? I'm like, I don't know, that's like super weird or whatever. So once we're done cleaning up, we sit down and we're talking and I just asked her, I'm like, hey, are you okay? Like, you know, you seemed a little bit aggravated when he had chose me to marry. Like, I hope you know that's just the game. Like, I'm not really feeling him like that. And I didn't know that you and him were talking. Like, if y'all are, let me know because I never want you to feel like I'm trying to go up under you. And she was like, girl, no, like I actually had, you know, messed around with Nim. And we were like, bitch, so then why you acting like that about Sway? And she was like, basically when her and Nim messed around, like it just really wasn't hitting on nothing and it wasn't as good as she thought it was gonna be. So now her eyes are set on Sway. And she was asking us, like, do you think it's a bad idea for me to talk to both of them? And we told her yes. But the problem with being her friend was sometimes she would ask us questions and still do the polar opposite of what we would tell her. Because she was like, ooh, damn, hold on, y'all. We have a technical difficulty, sorry. But basically she was like, you know, I don't see the problem with me talking to both of them because they're really like school friends. Like they don't really talk about things outside of school. Because I guess that was what Sway had been telling her. But I'm like, girl, that is a bold-faced lie. Because if you want to be technical, me and you are school friends and I know about everybody you done hit on campus. Like you're not going to get away with talking to both of them. But child, I was still hanging around her, so don't be surprised because y'all will see in other story times she used to ask us for advice and not listen, and it would just be a fucking mess. But thank you guys for watching my story time. I hope you guys liked it. That will be the end of this one, and y'all will have more coming at y'all. Hopefully I upload 2 today and not 1, but that will be the end of the story time. Bye you guys, and I hope y'all are enjoying the content as much as I'm enjoying y'all and y'all support. Love y'all. Goodbye. Mwah.